Here, thank you so much, Pyrotechnics, and those words from Svenskeren. I want to go back to that Fizz because I think it's a little odd that Airwax would go back to picking it. We heard from you and Kikis how it's pretty hard in the early game, and he knew he's going to have a hard time, especially versus Rek'Sai. I just don't really get it.
I just think it was a strategy. They practiced a lot, like going with the Fizz split push and then that way winning the game, but it didn't work out in any of these games, mostly because SK was just tactically the superior team, and every time they tried to go for a pick, SK just capitalized and pushed, and even though they managed to get some kills sometimes, the execution was not flawless and they just lost the objectives.
Yeah, it's very odd to me, especially since the game was remade. And do you think it was a case of, we only made this one strategy, we have to go with it? Because I feel like SK adapted a little bit more and always wanted to show a little bit more.
In the first game, it didn't go that bad with the Fizz pick, so I think they just thought that, all right, we are just going to do it a bit better this time and it's going to work and we're going to win, but it was the opposite.
Yeah, it was. What did you make of SK Gaming? Let's take this second game, so the final game, and then the game yesterday, and just kind of their curve after IEM and going into that first place spot.
I think today, in the second game now, the SK actually played really good. It's the SK we are used to seeing Svenskeren putting a lot of early pressure, like we saw him at the start of the split, and not just being AFK. So it's definitely a step in the right direction.
All right, yeah, I'm still scratching my head about the Fizz pick, actually. And then N-Rated, we had a little bit of comments on him during IEM, the fact that he's very good on that Lulu, he's not very good on that Annie, and also the same thing for Forgiven and maybe his champion pool. But the thing is, for an AD carry, they've all played all these AD carries a million times probably in solo queue and in teams. How do you think that is realistically going to affect him? Because he could have gone something else here, yet he wanted to go for that Corki.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that he actually didn't go for the Lucian. Maybe it's something like you don't want to pick Lucian in the Graves. They have respect for the Copenhagen Wolves bot lane, so they were not that confident in the matchup, so he went for the Corki instead. Could be something like he was just spamming other ADs this last week, practicing them because they obviously saw the problem they were having at IM.
Yeah, had to level it up a little bit. The same for N-Rated, who we've criticized for a bit, as I said, now going for that Nami. Do you see a growth of N-Rated of the time that you played with him and now, or maybe a difference in the way that he plays the game?
When I was playing with him, N-Rated was just really known for his Leona and initiate aggressive plays, and now he's playing the more passive support, so he's like totally changed his playstyle. I don't know why, but he has.
Yeah, he has, and it must be a confidence booster for him as well, because Nami is, of course, a high-skill champion. Also, my favorite champion in the game, so I'm always happy when that gets picked. But for the Copenhagen Wolves here, this was such a crucial week for them. How will this taint them going into the next weeks? Because it seemed like the thing we had praised them for before are still there. Like, Youngbuck is doing better in lane, it's going better for them. Arex can make things happen. Soren has had some good games, but it seems like it's falling apart just before the playoffs, or, you know, getting to the playoffs, rather.
Yeah, honestly, this game, I think the problem was they were like wolves hunting in a pack and they got punished for that. Just SK pushing down the turrets, taking the objectives, and wolves not managing to get enough like money and XP with those skills, so they just fell behind and lost. Yeah,
we will see how they can well, crank that up if they go into the next week, if they want to secure that playoff spot. Well, coming up after the break, Roccat will try and pick up their second win against Giants as they look to protect their spot in the summer split. That's all happening in just 3.5 minutes. We'll see you then.
Copenhagen Wolves at a record of 7 and 8 really cannot afford to lose games.
Now, this is the duel we've looked for.
Deathmark does get dodged. Airwax forced to fight. Oh! Airwax is in trouble, and he does get away. Ignis Slash didn't connect, but Youngbuck eats a bubble. Tibbetts locks up Svenskeren. Now Freddy gets a 3-man Soul Shackles, and everybody from the Wolves is forced to split, flashing away from the charm. Youngbuck is trying to get in range. His Slicing Maelstrom does get a few, but is exhausted and the damage is mitigated. SK Gaming convincingly defeat the Copenhagen Wolves.